What's going on, my people? Y'all know what time it is. Time to hit y'all with this floetry. My wife had mentioned to me the other day, I was trying to think of another topic. And she said, why don't you write about your jail experience, So I said, okay, let me go ahead and write about that. So I never did no prison time or nothing like that, thank God. But I did have the unfortunate experience of having to go to 2 different county jails. And I'm going to tell y'all how that went down. Again, in my 20s, my stupid, wild and reckless days, I happened to drink too much one day. Messed around, and I was going to work, messed around and flipped over a de-icer truck, that I was supposed to be driving at the time. Drinking at work, drinking on the way to work, drinking at work. And this was something I would do, every once in a while. It was like a normal thing for me, how I would kill my time. Not saying I drank every day, but when I did do it, I could wind up doing some really stupid stuff. And like I said, I was supposed to be going back to pick up another person that was going to be working with us, And one thing about these trucks, they had a whole lot of fluid in them. So you can do this sober. You can make a mistake, and if you're going a little too fast and you hit that turn too sharp, all that fluid will go to one side and it'll make that truck tip over. So of course, under the influence, I wasn't even thinking about this. Hit that corner too sharp, flip that truck over, and it was really a trip. I'm so in it, even though I'm buzzing, I didn't kind of sobered up. I'm in a state of shock. And now, mind you, this truck done flipped over. I don't even have a scratch on me. I'm not even realizing that or thanking God for that. I'm just focusing on the truck. And I'm so foolish in my state of shock and my desperation. I'm trying to push a thousands of pounds something truck back on his wheels, I remember I had slipped and fell about 3 or 4 times on that de-icer fluid that was leaking out. I remember my homeboy, he finally got to the scene. He was like, man, what you doing, And not only was he saying what you doing, but like, what you doing with your life, man, why you out here, messing up like that? And I ain't had no answer for him. He like, Will, man, that truck is, I forgot how many pounds, 4,000, 5,000 some pounds. You can't push that back. I just had to face the fact, that I had messed up. And before long, here come the sirens. I already know what time it is. Next thing I know, they put them cold handcuffs on me. And I wind up going to the jail for just for a couple of hours. I think they called it a sober up time. And then my homeboy Pseudo and his sister, they came and they bailed me out, So that was my first night in the jail. I remember seeing a little toilet and, the little bitty cell or whatever. I'm like, dang, I really messed up. That was the first time I had to sit in jail for a few hours. Then I got bailed out. And I wound up on probation, and stuff like that. Had to go to AA classes. Had to pay back restitution, which I wasn't even able to keep up with that stuff because I was so unstable, and wound up losing my job too. The next job I got, matter of fact. And then in the meantime, in the process of all this, one of my relatives wound up betraying me. I since then forgave this person, and I ain't going to put it out there like that. But they wound up letting me down and betraying me in a major way. I get a letter in the mail telling me I got to go to court for felony fleeing and eluding. This person ran from the police and got away from them. But they had my license plate on the car. So I'm not understanding what happened. I'm like, what the heck is this about? I see my place is gone. I finally find out, who it is or whatever. I realize it based on what happened. And so now I got a warrant for my arrest out of Macomb County, So meanwhile, I'm still on probation. So my probation officer she already nasty little, prejudiced little stinking lady. She already nasty with me, whatever views she got of me. And then on top of that, she questioning me about this, and I ain't got nothing to do with it, I'm just as clueless as she is, at least before I found out, what was up. So now I'm dealing with that. And during the process of this, while I'm still on probation for that, they wind up coming to get me one day. I forget, how the situation took place, but I know I had went to court a few times, and then something shady happened with my lawyers, where they was telling me they were supposed to get a stamp for me because it was a lack of evidence. They knew it wasn't me, and they couldn't prove it was me, which it wasn't anyway. And I wasn't supposed to have to come back to court. So I don't know what type of shade them lawyers threw in the game, them court appointed attorneys or whatever. I don't know what type of shade they threw in there, but I wasn't clear, And next time I went to probation for the DUI that I had, flipping over the truck or whatever, they say, you know what, they coming to get you for this warrant. You got to stay. So they held me there, and then Macomb County came and got me, and I'm just, when I found that out, I'm just depressed, The little couple of hours wasn't nothing, And I'm not so much scared. I don't feel no fear or nothing, It's just jail, whatever. And even though I'm slim, I'm a strong guy at this time, you know what I mean? I know I can handle myself, and I know God be with me. So I ain't feel no fear, but I was just extremely depressed, Like this the first time that I know I'm going to be off of the streets and away from my friends and family and stuff like that for a considerable amount of time. I'm going to be off the streets. And I just was like, dang, it was just a depressing feeling to know that I wasn't going to be free. So they ride me over to Macomb County. And the decent thing about Macomb was other than what I would find out later when I went to Dickerson, but I'm going to get to that in a minute. They don't strip search you all the way. I think you just go down to your wife's, which is embarrassing enough, but it's a lot more appreciated compared to, how they do you later with the full strip search at them other places. But they don't strip search you all the way, so that was cool. And then on top of that, the area that I was in, it was like a little laid back type of area. I forget what they call the area. You had your own cell, single cell, little area. And it wasn't no drama going on, and I didn't have no job, so it wasn't nowhere for me to go and where I would have to be strip searched every time, I returned to my area. It was nothing like that, So other than the fact of being locked up, I was like, okay, that's cool. It ain't like what I heard so far, I'm like, it ain't that bad. Still stressing because I want to be free. And, they give you these little lunch trays that remind me of the elementary school lunch trays, with a little carton milk and a little carton juice. I'm talking about these meals had you starving like you just want some more food. If you ain't got commissary or no hustle or know how to trade or whatever in there, you'll be starving in that place if you somebody who can really eat. And even though I was slimmer at the time, I always had the same appetite. I could eat good, So if you give me a small meal, I'm gonna still be hungry. So until my mom had sent me the commissary, these are the kind of meals I had to eat. Once I got the commissary, I had all the noodles, to add to it, so I ate enough to get full. But these was the conditions in Macomb County, and I was blessed to meet some pretty cool people. I ain't really had no major altercations. I had one little situation where a little dude tried to start a situation between me and a so-called racist inmate. He had some lightning bolt tattoos on his ankle. And the dude came telling me about it. I didn't even know about it. And it's just me and one other black inmate, in the pod or whatever. So he told me about it. I forget what comment I made. I know I said something, slick about the dude. I can't remember what it was. But he goes back and tell the dude. So the dude, and I didn't know at the time that he did that. I put two and two together later. So the dude come and try to check me, whatever. And at the time, I ain't had the words right away. I remember I went back to my cell, because he came at me, you don't have any business saying this and that. This is something, I got a long time ago. It doesn't mean that. I forgot whatever crap he said. I was completely caught off guard. I went back to that cell, paced back and forth a few times, came back. And I just came at him like a bull. What's happening? I ain't no bitch. Excuse my language. But this is what I'm telling the dude, and I'm like, what's happening? You know what I'm saying? You ain't finna punk me. Now I feel some type of way. I'm trying to redeem myself, but dude wasn't about that life. he was hoping I just stayed on the level I was on when he first came at me, and I didn't. I came back to him, to set that record straight, you know. But I wasn't even looking for no issue, man. If it wasn't for the little guy that went and told him, it wouldn't have been no issue, But I thank God that, the dude ain't want to scrap with me, so that I didn't catch no extra trouble, for whatever would have happened. It probably would have put me in a hole, added time, or, whatever the case. I'm thankful for that, that it ain't have to go to that. But that was Macomb County, and the black dude that was also in the same unit as me, he was cool. At this time I was having a lot of demonic attacks. I was being attacked by demons like every night. I told y'all in some previous poems, I had a situation where I was getting held down, unable to speak, unable to talk, and this was happening to me every single night, and I would, the dude was in the cell right next to me. I remember his name, matter of fact, it was Ramon. I say, hey, Ramon, I'm like, it's happening again. Dude will wake up out of sleep, he'll pray with me. This happened many nights. I appreciate him for that, man. He was a cool dude. And but yeah, he would pray with me every night. And I just appreciate that. So it was some cool people that I met, in the process. And then I wind up getting out of there because it was a lack of evidence, and the crazy thing about that was my last court date before I got out, because I didn't have a time frame. I was just going to court, back and forth. And that's another thing, y'all. Them court-appointed attorneys, they don't care nothing about you. They'll get you to take whatever deal, that you're willing to take. It don't matter what it is. These people steady trying to get me to take a felony. They know I'm innocent. You know what I mean? They didn't talk to me and the person. I know in their spirit, they see I didn't do it. I wasn't the guy that ran from the police. You know what I mean? But they like, yeah, you can just take the felony and you can get out today. Like, come on, man, you trying to mess my life up. I ain't trying to take that. I got to put that on every job application I put down. There's so many other areas that's going to hinder me in. So I stayed in jail. I stayed in jail until it got up to about 38 days. I got out the day after Christmas. They finally dropped all them felony bogus charges they was trying to give me and said, okay, well, you can take a plea for refusing to yield properly, not using proper turn signals. And the crazy thing was I never wanted to really tell the truth because I ain't care to tell the truth, what really happened and put this person out there because I felt like they betrayed me and put me out there. But the crazy thing was they finally gave me a different judge. I didn't have the same judge that I felt was racist towards me. I had a different one. And this dude had a different aura about him. He had a different vibe. And I remember, my attorneys was doing most of the talking, but right up until the end, he was like, well, William, tell me, I don't see a lot going on in your past. What really happened? And I just looked at my attorney, and my attorney's like, you don't have to go into it or whatever. And because of what I had already dealt with, I wasn't comfortable. But to be honest with y'all, I believe this man would have made it where I wouldn't have had nothing. It would have been no type of charges, nothing on me. He would have believed my case and I would have been straight. But God did work it out where the plea I took, I didn't have to, leave jail with no felony. So I'm thankful for that. But this dude it was something special about him. I think he would have dropped all that bull crap. You know what I'm saying? But still thankful. Anyway, later on, while I'm still on probation. No, I'm done with that. That's right. I was on probation when they sent me to Macomb. I was on probation for the DUI when they sent me to Macomb for the warrant or whatever. I get done with that. I'm still on probation for for the DUI. I'm messing up. I'm not making payments. I'm not going to the AA classes and stuff. I ain't really got the transportation. Plus, I just ain't got the mindset or the motivation to do it. So I wind up violating. So they send me to Dickerson, and again I got that depressed feeling. I'm about to lose my freedom again. I'm thinking it's gonna be 2 months because they told me 60 days for this one. So I'm like, dang, I did 38 days. Now I gotta sit for 2 months. This looking like a lot to me. You know what I mean? Because I ain't never done no type of considerable, amount of time. That 38 days was enough for me in Macomb. So I'm like, dang, I'm facing these 60. I get there, they doing the real strip searches, embarrassing as hell, you know, make you feel some type of way. Guards was decent, I have to say, though. I don't think it was as explicit as how they do you in the prisons, you know, from what I hear and see. It wasn't that bad, but to have to get butt naked in front of another man, that do something to your mind, you know, that troubles you, you know, in a major way. It bothered me. And I get over there. It ain't like Macomb. Macomb was like the nice area of jail. Dickerson is like you in the hood, you know, it's like you in the projects type jail. They got it's people slanging tobacco, they slanging weed up in there. I seen a gang fight jump off, you know, these dudes, and this was a trip, y'all. These dudes, it was a bad storm going on that night. And these dudes was going back and forth. You know, I believe it was two type of cliques. They was beefing. They had some type of disagreement about something. It was a storm and shut the power out. We still had the generator lights on. These dudes must have been in here for a while and had really like mapped this jail out, because when I tell you when them generator lights finally cut off, it was pitch black. It was pitch black to where you couldn't see nothing. And then all I heard was footsteps running to the other side. Now you could hear the dudes hollering and getting hit, you know, and all kind of stuff going on. You know, and then the guards finally rushed in and they shining lights on us. They want to see whose clothes is tore, you know, who got blood on them. I had to put out my hands and my arms so they could, you know, shine on me to see if I was involved. I wasn't, you know, thank God. And that was a wild place. You know, I remember they took, and I talk about this in my poem, they took the electrical socket. This was an open pod area too, by the way. And in some part of the area where I was staying at, the dude he would take the electrical socket loose, you know, where you plug stuff in, and he would stash his weed and his cigarettes in there, you know, and that was tripped out to me. I'm like, I hope they don't find this and think I'm involved, you know what I'm saying? Ain't no snitching, but I ain't trying to get in trouble neither, you know. So I'm like, dang, I'm going to be upset and ready to fight this dude if I got to go down, you know, for some crap I ain't even doing. You know, so, but thank God, you know, that never happened. But yeah, but Dickerson was off the chain, you know, and I remember being mad and upset, you know, with the bull crap going on in there. And I remember coming past this dude with yellow on, and I had heard later on the dudes with yellow, the yellow jumpsuits, them dudes got the serious cases, serious drug cases, murder, stuff like that. And I remember the dude was like, you know, hey, man, it ain't that bad, man, it ain't that bad. And the way he said it was like, I caught the vibe of like a bigger brother saying, man, look, I'm doing life. I'm doing some numbers, man. Keep your head up. You ain't got to be looking like that. It's going to be better on the other side for you. Man, you got to cut that down. He was like, it's going to be better, you know, on the other side for you, you know, and I took that, you know, and I respected that, you know, I felt that, and it changed, you know, my outlook on some of the little time I had to do, because this dude was dealing with some serious stuff. But I'm talking too long, y'all. That's just a little bit about my experience with, you know, with the two jails I was in. I wound up getting out of there in 30 days because I worked in the kitchen, and that cut my time in half, you know, and I was just thankful. And honestly, in spite of what happened, I believe God took me off the street for a little while so that I didn't, you know, wind up getting killed out there, because I was acting a fool when I was drinking. So I'm just thankful for that, you know, and I ain't mad at nobody, and I'm glad I moved on and I grew. Babe, you got to cut that. All right. Now I'm finna get into this. And I call this one, this is my Tales of the County Jails. All right, here we go. It's all fun and games until you feel the cold steel of those handcuffs. To keep it real, if you faking tough, them handcuffs will call your bluff. Have you in the back seat feeling like you had enough. Make you want to close your eyes and put on earmuffs and pretend you ain't have to deal with this stuff. 'Cause losing your freedom is rough. You just fell victim to the system. It ain't all sweets and peppermints. Take a picture and let them get your fingerprints. Prepare your mind for your stint. It's up to you how your time is spent. Listen to stories of other inmates, where they been and where they went. Learn from them, take a hint. I walked around mean mugging and looking mad, till an inmate with a yellow jumpsuit told me it wasn't that bad. I realized his reality was really sad. He had no days to count, no days to add. Knowing I didn't have life made me glad. But I was sick of cell searches and getting stripped. I began to plot and focus on getting ripped. I had to hold my grip and pray so I wouldn't trip. 'Cause this was a chapter I was ready to skip. And once I got out, I wasn't gonna slip. 3 meals a day that left you hungry for more. Thank God I had commissary to go to the store. Everything cold from the floor to the steel doors. They say when it rains, it pours. And every day you wearing an outfit that ain't yours. I seen small wars, riots and uproars. Guards check whose clothes are tore. Flashlights shine for bloody knuckles and sores. Pack it up if you're a herbivore. Only men surviving are carnivores. Soldiers and generals taking hits and making scores. Gangsters throwing up sets and yelling threats. Hearing stories from OGs and vets. Electrical sockets being unscrewed and used to hide weed and cigarettes. A tale of love stories and regrets. Gambling with ramen noodles and placing bets. This is my tale of county jails. A place cold and stale. Not quite prison, but a few cell blocks from hell. My motivation to stay out and do well. All right, that's a little bit long. I hope y'all stayed on, but I had to put my story out there, my experience, so y'all can see where I'm coming from. And, that's my tales of the county jail. Y'all stay blessed.